Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
Vaheguru Sahib Jio. ਜਿਉਂਦੀ ਸੈ ਗੁਰ ਸਿੱਖੜਾ ਤਿਸ ਨਿਵ ਨਿਵ ਲਾਗੋ ਪਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਆਖਾਂ ਬਿਰਥਾ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਗੁਰ ਸੱਜਣ ਦੇਹ ਮਿਲਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਸੋਈ ਦਸ ਉਪਦੇਸੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਅਨਤ ਨਾ ਕਾਹੂ ਜਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਇਹੋ ਮਨ ਤੈ ਕੂ ਡੇਵਸਾ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਰਗ ਦੇਹੋ ਬਤਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਹਾਂ ਆਇਆ ਦੂਰੋ ਚੱਲ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੱਕੀ ਤੋ ਸਰਨਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਮੈਂ ਆਸਾ ਰੱਖੀ ਚਿਤ ਮਹਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭੋ ਦੁਖ ਗਵਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਇਤ ਮਾਰਗ ਚੱਲੇ ਭਾਈ ਅੜੇ ਗੁਰ ਕਹਿ ਸੋ ਕਾਰ ਕਮਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਤਿਆਗੇ ਮਨ ਕੀ ਮਤੜੀ ਵੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਭਾਉ ਜਿਉ ਏਉ ਪਾਵੈ ਹਰ ਦਰ ਸਾਵੜਾ ਨਹਿ ਲੱਗੈ ਤਤੀ ਵਾਉ ਜਿਉ ਹਉ ਆਪੋ ਬੋਲ ਨਾ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਮਹਿ ਕਹਿਆ ਸਭ ਹੁਕਮਾਉ ਜਿਉ ਹਰ ਭਗਤ ਖਜ਼ਾਨਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਆ ਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਕੀਆ ਪਸਾਉ ਜਿਉ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁੜ ਨਾ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਭੁਖੜੀ ਹਾਂ ਰੱਜਾ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਤ ਅਗਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਜੋ ਗੁਰ ਦੀਸੈ ਸਿਖੜਾ ਤਿਸ ਨਿਵ ਨਿਵ ਲਾਗੋ ਪਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਤਿਸ ਨਿਵ ਨਿਵ ਲਾਗੋ ਪਾਏ ਜਿਉ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੁੜੀ ਹੋਈ ਬੈਠੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਆਓ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਓ ਜੀ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਕੇ ਆਖੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ We're doing Katha of Rehraas Sahib and we've got to near the very end of Chaupai Sahib that comes at the end of Chirtapakyan Granth and we're reading through that and we got to the 25th Pauri you might say 25th Chaupai where Maharaj says ਖੜਗ ਕੇਤ ਮੈਂ ਸਰਨ ਤਿਹਾਰੀ ਆਪ ਹਾਥ ਦੇ ਲਹੋ ਉਬਾਰੀ ਸਰਬ ਠੌਰ ਮੋਹੁ ਸਹਾਈ ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਦੋਖ ਤੇ ਲਹੋ ਬਚਾਈ So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is saying in their Bani, they're saying Khadg Ket. Khadg Ket. Ket means like a chin. Like in Japji Sahib we say Chakar Chehn Arbarin Jat Arpat Nahin Jeh. Chehn there means chin. A chin means a mark, a nishan, a sign. So many people, let's say, even the kirpans in the old days, they'd put a chin on the kirpan, a mark to say whose it is. So, Khadg Ket, on your chin, on your nishan, i.e. on your flag or somewhere wherever your nishan, what is your nishan? Your nishan is of a khadg. Khadg means a sword. So, oh Vaheguru, your nishan, your sign is a sword. And if you look at Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, we were talking this week as well, with some of the things. Nowadays, on our Gurdwara, like here, you see this sign, this mark here, which is a khanda. We call it the khanda. But actually, it's a combination of 3 or 4 different things. 2 kirpans, a chakar, and a khanda. And this has become the Sikh chin. It's become a Sikh symbol that people are using as to denote that should go on our Nishan Sahibs. But Sahib Sangaji, it's fine for us to use it as a chin because it's got shastra on it. Because Khadg Ket, it's got a khadg on there, a sword. But just be aware, this is something that came around in the last century. In the last 100 years, the Sikh Panth has kind of adopted this as our symbol. But if you look at the Nishan Sahibs of the old days, they would not have this symbol. What they would have is a sword, a katar, and a tal. So you'd have a circle for the tal. A katar would be a punch dagger that you could punch through, and they would have a kirpan like that. These are the 3 weapons on the battle stand at the Guru's times. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ 3 ਸ਼ਸਤਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਇੱਕ ਕਟਾਰ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਰਪਾਨ. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, when they would sign their letters, they would sign it off with a kirpan and a tal. And because it was a small signature, it would look like a cross with a little mark at one end, so like a long, and then a little circle for a tal. So even their chin, even their signature would have a khadag on there. Khadag Ket. And it refers to Vaheguru. That Vaheguru, you are Khadag Ket. And just like we said, Tuja means a flag. In the same way, you could say the Ket is referring to a flag, the Nishan Sahib. And Maharaj says, Khadag Ket. Main Saran Tihari. Oh Vaheguru, your Nishani is a sword, and I come to your Sharan. Saran means on the sanctuary. I've come to your sanctuary. Apahat de leho ubari. Give me your hand yourself. Appeina, give me your hand, but give it yourself. And leho ubari. Ubari means to save. Save me by giving me your hand. Sarbathor mohohu sahai. Sarbathor. Thor means in a place. Ek jagah, ek thaan. Thor. So Maharaj says, Sarbathor mohohu sahai. In all places, be with me. Sahai means the one who is with you. Guru mere sang sada hai nale. Guru Sahib is saying, oh Vaheguru, be with me at all places. Whether we're in the Gurdwara and we come here and we think, yeah, here the Guru is with me. Maaf karna Sahib Singh ji, ek bahut vada pakhand aa gaya sade vich. Sikhs started believing the Guru is only here. Hai na? That's not a very clear understanding of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. We say Guru mere sang sada hai nale, but then we do things in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we have a bit of fear. We say, oh, Guru Granth Sahib is here, we shouldn't even have arguments in Guru Granth Sahib Ji's presence. When they had the meeting last week, they did it here next to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Why is that? Because it stops arguments. Because if Guru Granth Sahib Ji was not here, we don't know what would happen. Now this is not good, is it? It's not good, because we should be able to control our behavior wherever we are. So je tusi ithe nahi aana chahte sharab pee ke, but your Guru is with your old times, to sharab piyo hi na. If your Guru is with your old times, then when you're sitting in the pub having a pint, he's there with you there as well and watching you. If you're saying this Bani swere utke ya sham nu, you're saying these words, Sarbathor mohoho sahai. You asked him to be with you at all places, but be very aware, if you asked him, do you want him to be with you at all places? Do you want him to be with you when you go inside that pub? Maybe not. Utte fe sharam aa jaogi. So make sure that you try yourself to stick up to those words. Don't just say, Maharaj, be with me at all places, but not when I do bad things. Try and regulate your behavior as well, so that wherever you are, Guru Gobind Singh Ji can be with you and not be embarrassed about being with us. Ye sharam nahi aayi Maharaj nu ki eh mera Sikh hai, ithe baitha hai. Last week I saw a bunch of people on the internet had taken videos, not of young Sikhs with turbans and beards smoking, but of old people with lambe chittiya daadiyan down to here, and they were smoking. And you wonder, what is going on with this path? What is going on when the old 60, 70-year-olds need to be told by the young lot, ki bhai sahab kirpa karo, you got a daadi, you got a pug, it doesn't look right for you to be smoking. So it's not that the older people are the only ones that have got everything right and the rest of us need to be taught. Nowadays, the Kal Yug is everywhere, in all ages. ठीक है ना? So Maharaj says, Sarbathor mohoho sahai, be with me at all times. Ho is written in this way over here. Ha ne to no hore ho, and then ha he no onkar ho. So we have to say it in that way. Don't just say ho sahai. It's ho. Yeah? Ho sahai. Dos dokh te leho bachai. From my dusht, from my enemies, and from dokh, from pain, save me. Bachai means to save me. So, what does that mean for us? What does it mean to come to Guru's sanctuary? This is a good question, because even before the Shabad we started off, is the Shabad Maharaj said, हाँ आया दूरो चल के मैं तक्की तो सर नाई जियो. To follow the Guru's Sharan is not purely a physical thing to come to the Gurdwara. It is true, I was at the play today with the Kultar's Mime play, and when the people that were coming up this way, the players, the actors, the American, they're not Sikhs, and I was walking them to the airport, up to the train station, and I said, look over there, can you see that flag with the khanda? She goes, yeah, that's a Gurdwara. She knew it's a Nishan Sahib of a Gurdwara. I said, that's the Gurdwara we're going to be at later on. But Onu pata sega, that's the Nishan of a Sikhi. That there you can come to the Guru's sanctuary. So there is the Guru's sword, the Guru's Nishan Sahib still refers to the fact that in this Gurdwara you can still get food and you should be able to get protection. But one thing to bear in mind, in 1984, when the Sikhs all got together in November, where do you think they got together? At the Gurdwaras. And were they armed up in the Gurdwara Sahib? Not really. A lot of them had left their weapons. They'd say these words to their Guru, Sarbator Moho Sahai, but they forget that this is the Guru's form. Here. Sarbator Moho Sahai. In all places, the Kirpan is with you. If you've told your Guru, I don't want your chehen, I don't want your nishani on me, and you've put it away, you haven't even got it when you're in your house, you haven't got the kirpan by you, then you're saying to the Guru, protect me at all times. The Guru said, but I gave you a kirpan to protect yourself. I was going to be by your side. If he is khadagaket, if he is a sword, so why did we take off our shastras in November 1984? Why did we leave them aside? And why do we not have them now? Many people, ask yourself, many people in our community would struggle to find 2 kirpans in their house. This is a Sikh's house. This is a house where Guru di Sikhi is jari chaldi hegi hai. In any Sikh's house, it should be easy to find at least 5 shastras per family member. Panch shastar parwan. That should be the ideal way. Have at least 5 weapons for every single family member in your house. And when a child is born, many people put a shastra under their pillow. And when children are growing up, if they get scared, in the Sikh houses, we don't just say, I'll put your candle on for you put. We say to them, here, have a weapon. Put it under your pillow. Keep this weapon with you. This is Guru Gobind Singh Ji is by your side. So we do believe the Shastra to be the form of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And obviously with a young child like this, you put a little kirpan on them like he's got one on right now. But you know he can't do much. When he gets older, he doesn't just get this little kirpan, he gets a big 3-foot kirpan as well. We should be training our kids to carry weapons with them. We should also train them how to use them. Because these words, they become true in reality. Here, this is a Guru's sanctuary. On a physical sense, you should be able to come to a Gurdwara and find real sanctuary. When times are bad, when people are attacking the Sikhs, then here we come together and we're safe. Yeah. Aam khafti yo Satgur ayo saran tuhari mile sukh naam har soba chinta Allah hai hamari. Our chinta should go out the window when we come here and say, I'm safe here. One more thing, Sasangat Ji. When we come to the Guru's Sharan, it also means mentally. It means mentally we've abandoned all other places and we believe the truth is only going to be found here. And now we surrender to the Guru. And Maharaj, whatever you say is true. In that Shabad Gunwanti, the Sikh is saying to the Gur Sikh, a Sikh has come to ask the Gur Sikh, how do I find the Guru? And the Sikh says to the Gur Sikh, I've come to your Sharan, save me and tell me how to find my Guru. And that Gur Sikh replies back by saying, It marg challe bhayide, gur kya hai sokar kamai jiyo. To walk on this path, my brother, my sister, you're going to have to do what the Guru says. I'm sitting here as somebody who is being told to teach the Guru's words, and I have to say the same words to you. If you want to get help from the Guru, if you want to walk this path towards the Guru, the only way is to do what the Guru says. There's no shortcuts. You're going to have to do what the Guru says, because it's a relationship between you and the Guru, and the Sikh is only here to just introduce you to the Guru. Agay thodi gal, aap chaldi hegi. Let not be, I'm not an intermediary, you have to do it yourself. It marg challe bhayide, gur kya hai sokar kamai diyo, tyage man ki matadi, vi sare duja paho jiyo. Forget the other loves of this world and come to the Guru Sharan and surrender. This is what it means to say, Khadag ket main saran tihari, aap haat de leho ubari. To come to his Sharan and surrender, then he will reach out and he will take care of you. As he has done to all the Guru Sikhs that say these words and believe them to be true. When you reach to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, he will protect you. This week, there was a Sikh who was talking about how he felt threatened. In many places, he felt he was concerned about things attacking him. And I had said many times in my Katha that if you read Bani, if you keep your rehat, then you will be safe. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj will protect you. And this Sikh did not believe this to be true. But this week I was speaking to this person, and it came out that Sikh was not following their rehat properly. They were committing a bajar ka rehat. They were breaking one of the major parts of what it means to be a Sikh. And then I said, hold on. You want your Guru to protect you, but every day you break one of the 4 rules that you are told. So Satsangji, be very aware. When we keep our rehat, then Guruji will also keep his rehat with us. If we depend upon him and we follow his way, then Guru Gobind Singh Ji reaches out and protects us as well. But when we do not do that, then we are turning our face away from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And when we turn our face away from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, we turn towards the other forces of this world. And those other forces, you make yourself susceptible to them when you don't follow the Guru's way. So, even we're talking about refugees right now in this world. When you come to a refugee camp, then in that refugee camp, they have rules. And when you apply, you live by the rules of refugee camp, you then get given refuge. People have been kicked out of refugee camps as well. When we come to the Guru, then we must follow his rules. So Maharaj then goes on the next Bani. Now the next Shabad is 26th Pauri of Chaupai Sahib. And some of you might not have heard this before. It's the 26th, it's the one after Khadag Ket Mein Saran Tihari. I'm going to read it out now, and then we'll do vichar of why it's not read sometimes. Maharaj says, Kirpa kari ham par jagmata, granth kara puran subrata, kilbik sakal deh ko harta, dost dokhyan ko chhay karta. Now this body, this Shabad starts off, Maharaj says, Kirpa kari ham par jagmata. Now, some people don't read, like for example in this Gurdwara, they don't read this part. That doesn't mean that they are going outside the Rehat Maryada. The Akal Tak Rehat Maryada, when it was made in 1945 or 47, they made up to 25th compulsory every evening. You must read them. But they said that if you don't read 26th, 27th, then you're not breaking the rules. So some people said, well, we don't read it. But what it says is, कि Rehraas Sahib ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੌਪੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ 25 ਪੌੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਦਰਜ ਹਨ. They are included in Rehraas Sahib. What they didn't say is that the 26th, 27th should not be read. All they said is, this is what is included in Chaupai Sahib in Rehraas Sahib, up to 25th. And the rest, you can read or you don't have to read. It's up to the person making the choice. But it doesn't say you shouldn't read them. So it's when I start and clarify that, it doesn't say you shouldn't read them. So you can read them. It's not against any kind of maryada to read them and discuss them. Now why don't they read them? Because there's 2 reasons. Firstly, this word Jagmata. Kirpa kari ham par Jagmata. Now we know in Bani it says Madho. Madho is used for Krishna normally, but we use it for Vaheguru. Sometimes the word Shiva comes up, Dehe Shiva Barmoe hai, but we use that for Vaheguru. Sometimes the word Ram comes up, but we use that for Vaheguru in Gurbani. But the problem is when this word Jagmata came up, and Jagmata normally refers to Durga, people got a bit scared. They go, oh, female word for God, that must mean you're talking about Durga and not talking about Vaheguru. That doesn't make any sense, you see. If we're going to use the male word for God, then why are we scared of using a female word for God? Because Guru Gobind Singh already said that Vaheguru has no form. He has no gender. He's not male or female. So there's a little bit of sexism here, that they got scared of the word Jagmata and they thought it referred to Durga itself. The Durga is on Kirpa on Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and allowed them to finish this Bani, the Granth. Kirpa kari hum par Jagmata. The Jagmata is on Kirpa upon Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Granth kara Puran Subrata. On this lovely night, on this auspicious night, that this Granth has been finished. So people got a bit scared of this word Jagmata. That was the first reason. I'm going to address that in the next topic, in the next Shabad. But also, these next two paudis, 26th and 27th, they effectively just talk about Chaupai Sahib and about the whole Granth of Chitrapakyan Granth. They're not talking about Chaupai Sahib anymore, specifically. Yeah? So, they're like a conclusion to the whole Granth, but they're not really any more Bentis to protect me with your hand. The Benti to protect me with your hand finished the 25th paudi. So it was a compromise, you see. The people that made the compromise, on the one side, there were people that didn't want to read the rest of the Baniya, whole of Chaupai Sahib. But they said, no, you must read up to 25th. But the ones that made the compromise, they said, okay, we'll allow you to read only up to 25th, not 26th or 27th. And what was the reason for their compromise? Because these two paudiyas are not really talking about Chaupai Sahib, protect me, Benti Chaupai. They're more about the entire Granth. So they said on that basis, okay, we'll compromise with you here. Compromise is important. There's no point arguing about something all the time. Some people, they can't compromise. And when you have that situation in a family, you end up getting a panga. Right? When you're thinking about a Panthic family as big as ours, you get a really big panga. And the thing is about our Panth, is when you've got 5 fingers, they can be united and you get a nice mutti, a fist, and you can actually knock out someone with this. However, when you get 5 fingers individually, they're not that strong. What have we got? We've got Taksali, Nanak Sari, AKJ, Nihang, missionary. These 5 fingers not working together. So the Sikh Rahat Maryada was a compromise document, so we can be strong and work together. What do we do now? We ignore it and we argue anyway. So Satsangji, be aware, those people that spent 13 years discussing this one document, they weren't silly people. They were trying their best to make the Panth come together and have unity and strength in that unity. So let's not argue about these things. So, Maharaj says, Kirpa kari hum par Jagmata. What does the word Jagmata mean? The mother of the world. Tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandab, tu mera prata. You're my brother, Vaheguru, you're my brother. You're my mother, you're my father. So why can't we say Jagmata to Vaheguru, the mother of the world? Jagpita and Jagmata. Gurudev Mata, Gurudev Pita, Gurudev Swami Parmeswara. The Mata is always being honored in Gurbani. So Maharaj says this, I completed this book, Granth Kara Puran Subrata. On this auspicious night I finished this Granth. That means on one evening, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj has finished off this Granth. What is this Granth? Chitrapakyan Granth, the full Granth. Then Maharaj says, Kirpa kari hum par Jagmata, Granth Kara Puran Subrata, Kilbik Sakal Dehe ko harta, Dos Dokin ko Chhe karta. Kilbik Sakal. Sagal and Sakal is the same word. All. Kilbik means the sins of the body. So Maharaj says, you destroy all the sins, dehe ko harta. Harta means to destroy. You destroy all the sins of the body. Dos dokhin ko chhe karta. My dost, my enemies, my dokhin, the people that cause me pain. Chhe. Chhe means to destroy. Destroy all the enemies that are going to cause me pain or are going to be my enemies. You destroy them. Then Maharaj says, Sri Astu Chaupai Dayala Puran Kara Granth Tatkala Man Bachat Phal Pave Soi Dukh Na Tisai Beapat Koi. Maharaj says now, Sri Astuj. Tuja means flag. Astuj means again Kirpan on the flag. Oh great supreme. Sri means Shromani. Shromani, the supreme Vaheguru who has a sword on his flag. Chaupai Dayala. When you became compassionate towards me, Puran Kara Granth Tatkala. Then you allowed me to finish this Granth, Chitrapakyan Granth. Tatkala means immediately. Satsangji, Just now we were reading a word where Guru Gobind Singh Ji was referring to Waheguru as Jagmata. Now we're reading a word when Guru Gobind Singh is referring to Waheguru as Sri Astuj, a kirpan on his flag. But both times he's thanking them for allowing, he's thanking Waheguru Maharajas for allowing Guru Gobind Singh to finish off the Granth. So in the first pauri they say a female word, in the next pauri they use a male word. So how can it be the kirpa of Durga? Right? It can't be just Durga. Obviously in two pauri they've used two different words, one male, one female. You're referring to Waheguru. So Maharaj says, Man bachat phal paave soi, dukh na dise beapat koi. Man bachat. Bachat means to have a desire. So my mind desires something. Man bachat phal. The thing that I wanted, the fruit of my mind's desire, paave soi. The person who reads this Granth, who will listen and read this Granth, Maharaj says, this person will get what they wanted in their heart. Dukh na dise beapat koi. And no dukh, no suffering will come to this person who reads or listens to this Granth. Obviously, finishing off Chaupai Sahib. In many parts, Guru Gobind Singh Ji and all the Gurus, they explain the value of this part. Like when we read Anand Sahib. Maharaj says at the end of Anand Sahib, in the last pauri of Anand Sahib, Maharaj says, Anand suno vadpagiyo, vadpagiyo sagal manorth pure. Anand means Anand. They're saying, listen to Anand. What does that mean? Anand Sahib. Anand suno vadpagiyo. Those that listen to Anand Sahib, they are vadpagi, they have got great fortune. Anand suno vadpagiyo sagal manorth pure. All of your desires will be fulfilled. Same thing Guru Gobind Singh saying here. You've listened to this Granth and all the things that you wanted will come to you. So many Baniya, even at the end of Chandi Diwar, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says, Ki now you've heard this Durga part and you won't have to come back into reincarnation. Durga part banaya sabbe paudiyan, pher na joni aaya jin eh gaya. Maharaj said, now you've heard this part, you won't have to come back into reincarnation. So Bani has power. So Guru Gobind Singh here is saying that those people that read or listen to this Granth, i.e. Chaupai Sahib and all the Bani inside Chitra Pakyan Granth, they will find what they want and no suffering will touch them. Arril. This word Arril, it's quite an interesting word. All it means is a style of poetry. It's like a dohira or a chaupai. But when I was in America, there was a Singh who did a whole lecture on the different types of words used in Jagraj Sahib and Dasambani. And he said that basically in every poetry, there's a very specific rule and Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj uses those rules. So this one, Arril, it specifically means that it's a chand with 4 lines and each line has 21 syllables. And the last 3 of that line have to be Guru, Lagu, Guru. Lagu means short and Guru means long. So there must be long, short, long. This is the way it works in this pauri. And this way, Maharaj says it must be pa-va-ei. Yes, you got a long and you got a short. So, sune gong jo yahe so rasna pa-vei. So, the point is that it's a poetical measure. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji uses these poetical measures in many times throughout Jagraj Sahib, throughout all the Sambani. So, Arril. Maharaj says, Sune gong jo yahe so rasna pa-vei, sune mood chitlaye chaturtaya vei, duk dard paur nikat na tin nar keh rahe, ho jo ya ki ek baar chaupai ko kahe. Maharaj says, Sune gong jo yahe surasna pave. A gung is somebody who can't speak, a mute person. Maharaj says, Sune gong. If a person who can't speak listens to this Bani, Chaupai Sahib, Sune gong jo yahe. Yahe means this. Sune gong jo yahe so rasna pave. What will they get on their tongue? Maharaj says they will get this on their tongue. They will be able to speak. Even somebody who's mute, they say, will be able to speak. But another translation has been given is that even if they can't speak, they will still get Waheguru on their tongue. They will still be able to say God's name. Many people say, well, I can't speak, so how can I jap naam? Maharaj says, no, you don't need a tongue to jap naam. even somebody who's mute, listens to this, they will get Waheguru on their tongue. And Maharaj says, Sune mood chitlae chaturta ave. If a mood, an idiot, if a fool listens to this Bani, Sune mood chitlae, with concentration. Chit means concentration. Sune mood chitlae, what will happen? Chaturta ave. They will become clever. Maharaj says, I can make somebody who's even a fool to become clever. Now somebody might say, well, somebody's got a low IQ, you can't change them. But Satsang ji, ek gal hegi hai. You might think you got a high IQ, but you might be a mood anyway. Because we don't know what life is about. But when we find out what life is really about, then chaturta aagi. We understand, no, I shouldn't be such a fool, do the wrong things in my clever brain. Maharaj says, Sahasya anapa lakho he, ta ikna challe na. You might have a clever brain, but it's not going to go with you. But if you get a clever brain that works out what life is about, then you will start to earn the things that will go with you. Then Maharaj says, Dukh dard pao nikat na tin nar kya rahe. Dukh dard pao. Dukh means pain. Dard means pain again. Dukh dard, different types of pain. And pao, fear. Nikat means close. So dukh dard pao nikat na tin nar kya rahe. Those things will not come near to the person who reads this Bani. Fear and hurt and these things will not come close to the person, the nar, who says these words. Ho jo yaki ek baar chaupai ko kahe. Who is that person? Who with their mind ek baar chaupai ko kahe. Who even reads Chaupai Sahib once, these things won't come near that person. Then Maharaj carries on in the next Chaupai. This is the 28th body, but it's also the Arril. And then Maharaj says Chaupai. Now we're going back to Chaupai Sahib, different type of poetry. So when we read Chaupai Sahib, the whole full Chaupai Sahib, then when we get to Arril, we have to change our chal. Our chal means how we're reading the Bani. We have to change it because it's no longer in the same style of poetry. Now we go back to Chaupai Sahib. Maharaj says, Sambat satra sahas panijay, ard sahas punteen kahijay, Bhadrav sudi ashtami ravara, ti satutrav gansudara. The 29th, Maharaj says, Sambat satra sahas panijay. Now what this Chaupai, this one chant, this one podi is all about is the date that Chaupai Sahib was written. So all this is all dates. So what does Sambat mean? Sambat is basically the Bikrami Sambat. The dates are from the Bikrami calendar, not from the Isavi calendar. We use in the West the Isavi calendar, the Christian calendar. So it starts from 0 when Christ was born and it goes to year 2015 where we are now. 2015 years after Christ. Get it? So that's what it refers to. So Sambat is a different calendar. And Maharaj says in that calendar, Sambat Satra Sahas Panijay. Panijay means it was. And what was it? Sambat Satra. Satra Sahas means 1700. Sahas means 100. Satra means 17. So in 1700 plus Ardha Sahas Punteen Kahijay. Ardha means half. Sahas means 100. So Ardha Sahas means 50. So it's 1700 plus 50 and then Punteen Kahijay plus 3. 1753. Right? Punteen Kahijay. It was that date. And then Bhadrav Sudi Ashtami Ravara. So when it was 1753, okay, what is that date? If you look at the calendar, how do you work out what date that was? Guru Gobind Singh telling us when that Shabad was, when Chaupai Sahib was written. To work out the Isavi calendar date, the equivalent date in the Christian calendar, what you have to do is minus 56 or 57. Sometimes it changes, but it's basically 56 or 57. So when you minus that, what you get is a date of 1696 or 1697 as per the calendar that we use. So we know that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they did the Amrit Sanskar, the first Amrit Sanskar, 1699. And this Chaupai Sahib was finished and completed by 1697. So therefore it was available for the Panjbaniya in 1699. So it is important to read these words to remember that this Bani was available in 1699 because that's what it says it was written. It says it in the Bani when it was written. So Maharaj says, then Bhadrav Sudhi Ashtami Ravara. What does Bhadrav mean? Bhadrav means the month. The month in the year Bhadrav is Bhadoi. When we read the Bara Maha Manj, it comes up in there as well. Sudhi. Sudhi refers to that in the Punjabi calendar, the Indian calendar, they would have Puranmashi, full moon, and Masya, no moon. Then in between Puranmashi and Masya, that's 15 days, isn't it? Because you get a whole moon back on Puranmashi. So when you've got two bits, 2 fortnight. So what happens in a fortnight is the moon is either going up or the moon is coming down. It's either going from Puranmashi to Masya, no moon, or it's going from Masya to Puranmashi. So that when it's rising, when it's increasing, then it's called Vadi. When it's decreasing, it's called Sudhi. It's going down. So this is when the moon is increasing in size. Okay, in Sudhi, sorry, it's reducing. So it's reducing from full moon to no moon in that fortnight. And Maharaj said this is on Bhadrav, in the month of Bhadrav, in the 2 weeks of Sudhi, Ashtami. Ashtami means the 8th day of the Sudhi. Ravivara means a Sunday. It's quite technical, but we know that in 1696, in the month of Bhadoi, on the 8th day of the Sudhi, it was a Sunday, and on that day Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj finished off Chaupai Sahib. Okay, it's written, where was it? Tir Satutrav Granth Sudhara. Tir Satutrav means on the river, on the edges of the river Satluj, on the river side. That's where this Granth was finished in 1697. So it's quite specific, and you can find this out in Dasam Granth Sahib. Many places it tells when the Shabad was read out. So then Maharaj says in the last bit of this. Now this bit is Maharaj says It Sri Chaturapakhyani. This is like a summary to the part. It's not part of the part itself. Maharaj says It Sri Chaturapakhyani Triye Tritre Mantri Bhub Samadhe 405 Chiritra Samapatam Mast Subha Mast Avju. Now, let's just go through those words. It Sri Chaturapakhyani. It means here. It Sri Chaturapakhyani. Here is Chaturapakhyani Granth. Now, what is Chaturapakhyani Granth? Chaturapakhyani Granth is the name for the Granth that contains 405 stories of clevernesses. Now, Opakyan, Charitropakyan. Opakyan means old. Op means old. Akyan means stories. Old stories that used to have a moral lesson inside them. So stories that had a moral lesson, and specifically the Chitropakyan. So it's stories that are talking about the clevernesses. Chitra means clevernesses. Clevernesses of both males and females. In Chaturapakyan Granth, it is not purely stories about women. It's also stories about men. But majoritarily, it's stories about the clevernesses that people can play on each other, okay, around lust. A lot of it is around lust and power. Okay. So Maharaj says, It Sri Chaturapakhyani, Triya Tritra. These are the clevernesses of women. Triya means women, but it can also mean Maya. Okay. Mantri Poop Samadhe. What is happening here? What do those three words mean? Mantri means a minister, Poop means a king, Sambadhe means between each other. What is happening in Chaturapakhyani Granth? I've gone into this in detail when we did Chaupai Sahib and in Dasam Granth Katha. But specifically what's happening here is that the whole of these 405 stories, they're within a sort of composition. There's a super story, and each one is a sub-story within that super story. What is a super story? There is a king. The king has a son. The son is very beautiful, very wise. Everybody expects the king for him to be the next king. But the king goes and marries somebody very young again now, his second wife. The second wife, she falls in love with the prince. She tries to tempt the prince towards her. The prince says, no, you are like my mother. You're my father's wife. How can I do anything with you? She gets upset. So what does she do? She rips her clothes, she scratches herself and says that he tried to rape me. She starts screaming rape. Now what happens? The king arrests the son. Because he loves his wife so much, his new wife, he comes under her cleverness, and he starts to think that the son is guilty. And he then puts his son in prison. He orders the son to be beheaded, to be killed. Now, the son is innocent. And the wise minister that works for the king, he knows the son is innocent. He can see that this new wife is trying to be clever. So what does he do? Whenever the king is going to call the son to be executed, he says to the king, hold on, let me tell you a story. And the king goes, go on then. And he tells him a story, and the story takes all day until it's too late for the king to now send his son to death. And these stories are within the super story. So every time the king says, bring the son out, he says, let me tell you a story. And he goes through stories upon stories upon stories about how, he doesn't say to the king, because he's clever as well, he doesn't say to the king, your wife is a liar. Because what's that going to end up with him doing? Putting him in prison as well. But instead, he tries to get the king to realize, using these stories, that maybe his son is also innocent. And he should be careful before he just trusts this woman's word without any judgment. And it's not just specifically about women, but people within Kaam, in stories of lust, they often do lie. So obviously there's rules, even in this country there's rules about anonymity. So if somebody makes an allegation against you, it's kept anonymous, and so that people can work out if that is true or not, before they blast it on Facebook and social media, and this you're basically complete, and you never come back outside again. Yeah, you know how it is nowadays. People blast things without any allegations, and trial by internet or Facebook is not a very good trial. Yeah, all that happens, you get is rumor upon misconstruction being spent everywhere, and it's not very realistic. It's not very good. So Maharaj says, Mantri Poob Sambade. These are the stories that were said between the king and the minister. Guru Gobind Singh Ji's created this fiction, this work of fiction where the king is having a conversation between the minister, and within this conversation there's all these stories being read out, and the stories are teaching something. They're teaching about how clever the world is. Now why might someone say, why is Guru Gobind Singh telling you these stories? Right? Why is Guru Gobind Singh Ji constructing this system? Why not just tell us straight, be careful about this? Because sometimes they say that the truth is stranger than fiction. What happens in real life can be stranger than a book that you might write in fiction. People would not, if you wrote down some things that happened in real life, people would say that could never happen. Because it's so strange what happens in reality. And Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj starts to tell these stories. To whom is he telling these stories to? Is it for the armed Sangat? No. When we sit here in a Gurdwara, we don't tend to do Katha of what happens in Chartapakya and Granth. Normally, that was taught to the Naujawans separately. The women and the men would sit together and they would have what you might call moral classes. And people would teach. And my friend in Birmingham, he went to classes like this when he was about 13, 14 years old. The Granthi would sit down and he would go through the Dasam Granth Sahib and tell them the stories that Guru Gobind Singh is talking about. Why was that? Why were they taught separately? Because people can be aware of what goes on out there. You see, the Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj and Sikhi in general has made Sikhs into very pole pale, very innocent. We don't know how bad people can be out there. That's why a lot of our girls get trapped in grooming. They think everybody's hunky-dory, everything's fine, they're all friends. They're like the Sikhs. Everybody's lovely, all religions are the same, we're all friends. It's all happy-go-lucky out there. Then suddenly they find themselves trapped. And someone is doing things, he's wearing a kada, they assume he's a nice person, takes the kada off, his name is something else, he does things that you would not believe, and you wonder, what's going on here? I didn't know people could be like this. Why don't we know? Because in a Gurdwara, because of the Guru system, we are quite nice people. Generally, Sikhs are known for being quite nice, quite giving. Men are supposed to be protecting women. So our women and our men, we get lulled into this false sense of security that everybody out there is like us. But they're not. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is telling these stories to the Khalsa. So the Khalsa wakes up and realizes that the people out there are not so nice. Because a lot of these times, the Singhs were Chakravarti Fauj, they were armies that were travelling outside, they were Bhyangam, they were not married. So they would go out, bunch of single men, tall, strapping, strong, okay, and out there, they would be the targets of many women. The Guru Gobind Singh wanted the Khalsa to realize what could also happen to them, so they become armed with knowledge. When we say arm yourself with knowledge, it's not an empty thing. Gyan Khadag is very important. And if you think that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not talking about these things, it's not true. Guru Granth Sahib Ji also talks about these things. Even this morning in the Hukamnama I was reading, Kabir Ji starts talking to the mind, Man Baurare. The Shabad in that podi you've already heard. When I read it before that, Maharaj says, look at the monkey. He puts his hand inside to get hold of the anaj. Markat mushti anaj ki man baurare lini haath pesar. Chutan ko sahsa parya man baurare nachyo kar karbar. And they say that the monkey put his hand inside the bottle to get hold of the corn, but now his hand is strapped, he can't pull it out because his hand is spread out now. Markat mushti anaj ki man baurare. They're talking to the mind. They're saying, look at the monkey, he was greedy, he's got lobe, attachment, he can't let go of that anaj. Now he's trapped, becomes into a dancing monkey. In the same body, they start talking about the elephant, and how the elephant, because of his lust, gets captured. They make a woman out of straw for the elephant to get captured as well. They will capture us in the same way. Kaljug has a very big weapon, calm. And it will take somebody who is trying to get this way and it'll bring you down somewhere else. I know of people that I thought were very Chardi Kala, they fell off this path. They fell from Amrit because of calm. And I'm sure everybody around here could tell a story about people that had nice married life, everything was going well, and suddenly calm came in and it ruined them. So let's not pretend that calm is not a big problem for this world. It's a big problem for this world. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is telling us these stories to say, Sikho, bach ke raho. Don't think it's all easy out there. You go in the real world, the truth is stranger than fiction. So let me tell you some fiction that's actually not as strange as reality. You can arm yourself with a better knowledge so you don't get trapped when you go out there. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, they used to say in the army. Little bit of knowledge helps you so much. And these stories are not about women only. Like I said before, there's charitra of men as well. So Maharaj says, 405 charitra samaptam mast sub mast. This is the samapti of those 405 charitra. And they say that sometimes let it be blessed is completed, but sometimes also read as ash subham ast. Doesn't matter which way you read it, it means the same thing. That these stories are blessed and they're finished here. And the Maharaj says, Afju. This took me a bit of time to work out what Afju meant. Afju literally meant to be continued. Yeah? Because now, after this Chaupai Sahib, we're going to go into reading other Dasambani. This Afju is not part of the Granth, it's put in by Sikhs to say that now we're going to carry on reading some more Dasambani from other bits of Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. So Afju just means we're going to go into some more. We're not going to go straight into Anand Sahib, finish off Chaupai Sahib, finish off Rehraas Sahib. We're going to still read a few more Shabads. And now, like I said to you before, there's the medium version, i.e. Taksali version. Then there's the longer version, the Nihang Singh / Nanak Sari version. We're going to go through that one. Okay? So Maharaj goes and they say, Dohira. Now this Dohira, it's actually from Krishna Avatar on Ang 310 of Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. And Maharaj says, Dohira, Das Jan Kar Das Par Kije Kripa Apar Apaha De Rak Mohe Man Karam Bachan Bichar. Now, in Krishna Avatar, which is a Sakhi about Krishna Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj is telling the story of Krishna Bhagwan in their own words. And this is 433, this Dohira. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj reads this Dohira out in a bit of Krishna Avatar, where they pause from talking about Krishna. They take a bit of a pause, just like many times in Charitra Pakhyan Granth, they pause from talking about Chaupai Sahib and from about the Charitra Pakhyan, and they start going into other Baniyan. Like there's a famous show where they talk about what Guru Gobind Singh Ji got told by their father when they were 9 years old. So in many Banis of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, you get a little bit of a pause, to take a step back, and they give some other reflection, which is designed to make you to understand that there's more to this story than you really think. It's not just a story, there's something else going on. What is this respite? Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in this bit, they call this bit the Ustad of the Devi. But in the Ustad of the Devi, they're not just praising the Devi. Ustat means praise. They're not just praising Devi, they start praising the Shastra and they start praising Vaheguru. They start to say, Vaheguru, you are Brahma, you are the Devi, you are Krishna, you are Ram. They use all these words to refer to Vaheguru. And then they say this Bhakti right at the end, the last 8, they say this, Das Jan Kar Das Par Kije Kripa Apa. So it's not Ustat of Krishna and it's not Ustat of the Devi, it's Ustat of Vaheguru within Krishna avatar. And they say to Vaheguru, know me as your slave, Das Jan Kar Haat Par Kije Kripa Apa. Take your hands, know me as your servant, and do unlimited kirpa upon me. Aap haath de raakh mohe, man karam bachan vichar. They say, oh Vaheguru, use your own hands, aap haath de raakh mohe, save me, man karam bachan vichar. What does that mean? I am thinking with you, I have only one thought, man karam bachan vichar, mera vichar in my mind, in my words, and in my thoughts, I only have one thought. Everything that I do right now is all about you. So Maharaj, Kirpa Karo, let my mind, let my words, and let my actions remain yours. Satsangji, you and I know, when our actions go away from the Guru, we become Bemukh. But also, when our words go away from the Guru, we become Bemukh. I've met many Sikhs who've said to me, yeah, this guy, he looks like a Sikh, doesn't talk like a Sikh. So Maharaj is telling us in Bani, they're saying, Mittha bolo. The ultimate, they say, Mitthat nivi nanaka, guna changyaya tat. To be mittha and to be humble is the essence of all goodness. But you and I know, we were talking earlier about the meetings that happen. Where is this mittha bolna? Where is this nivichalna? This humbleness. In all of our community, we see so much that we are not known to be people that speak sweetly and act humbly. We're known to be garam khoon wale. In India, the Sikhs nowadays, what they say to people, they say, we are like this. Guru Gobind Singh made us like this. We become very garam khoon wale. We're warm-blooded, so therefore we're easy to, we react and get angry very easily. That's not what Bani is saying. Bani is saying, Kal tati, thanda har nao, simar sada sukh pao. They say Kaljug is hot, but the name of Vaheguru is cold. Calm down, dear. That's what Guru Gobind Singh is saying to us. Calm down. And in this Bani they're saying, Maharaj, may my mind, my words and my actions, let them stay with you. When I stay with you, I will stay protected. What does it mean to have your Guru with you? It means that your mind and your words and your actions, they stay with the Guru. I know and you know, the minute we start turning away from our Guru, that's when the Guru leaves us. It's not we that push the Guru away. We don't say to him, don't stay. He stays with us, but we turn away from him. We become Bemukh. So Maharaj is saying, Ki Maharaj, Kirpa karo dolan te rakho Prabhu, Nanak de kar hath. How will you dole? Kiven dologe? Dolan means to fall down. How will we fall down? In our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Man karam bachan vichar. Maharaj says, Chaupai. Back to Chaupai, this Bani is now in Chaupai form. Maharaj says, Main na gane se pritham manao, kisan bisan kabhu na hatyao, kaan sune pehchan atinso, liv lagi mori pag inso. Main na gane se pritham manao. Very interesting translation. Maharaj says, I do not first bow down to Ganesh. Now you might think, why is Guru Gobind saying that? What's it about Ganesh? You see, in India, the goddess of knowledge, it is Saraswati. But the god of letters is Ganesh. So whenever someone used to write a granth, whenever someone used to start some kind of big spiritual work, they would bow down to Ganesh and to Saraswati. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Main na Ganesh se pratham manao. They say, first thing, I do not bow down to Ganesh. People bow down to Ganesh, but Guru Gobind says, I do not bow down to Ganesh. Why? Then they say, Kisan bisan kabhu nahyao. They say, I do not meditate upon Krishna. I do not meditate upon Bishan means Vishnu. Kishan Bishan kabhu nahyao. Where is this Shabad written? In Krishna avatar. Guru Gobind Singh says, in Krishna avatar, that I don't bow down to Krishna, I don't bow down to Vishnu. Anybody who thinks Guru Gobind Singh wrote Krishna avatar to praise Krishna and say we should worship Krishna is obviously not reading properly what Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying. They're saying, "Main na Ganesh se pratham manau, kisan bisun kabhu na tyau." Never do I meditate upon these people. Kaan sune pehchan na tinso. They say, I listen to them with my ears, I heard of these people in my ears, but I don't recognize them. Pehchan na tinso. I don't recognize them. Pehchan means to recognize. They say, live lagi mori pag inso. My love is with the feet of Vaheguru. So I do not accept these beings. People worship them, but Guru Gobind Singh Ji does not worship them. They say, I only recognize Vaheguru. Then they say the next pankti, they say, Mahakar khwar hamaro, Mahaloho main khinkar tharo, Apna jaan karo rakhwar, Bahen gahe ki laaj bichar. They say, Mahakal, oh great death, the death of everybody. You killed Krishna, you killed Vishnu, you killed Shiva, you're the greatest killer of them all. Vaheguru. Mahakal rakhwar hamaro, now you protect me. Mahaloho main khinkar tharo. Oh Vaheguru, you are Mahaloho. Mahaloho can mean two words. One is great iron, a great big shastra. But also lo, tithe lo akar, in Japji Sahib, lo also means light. So Mahaloho, oh great light. Oh Vaheguru, Mahaloho, main kinkar tharo, I am your servant. Kinkar means a slave, basically, a slave. Kinkar tharo, apna jaan karo rakhwar. You know me as your own and protect me. Bahen gahe ki laaj bichar. Take my arm, grab my arm, bahen gahe, grab my arm, ki laaj bichar, save my laaj. What does laaj mean? My honor. Save my honor. So, Maharaj then says, protect my lajja. The Maharaj says, apna jaan mujhe prat pariye, chun chun satra hamare mariye, deg teg jag mein dau chale, rakh aap mein aur na dale. So we'll finish off with that one previously because this is quite long. Deg teg jag mein dau chale is quite long sakhi in there. So we'll talk about that next time. As I said, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj said these next 8 shabads we're going through right now as part of Krishna Avatar. After that, you have other shabads that come up that are from different parts of Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. There's some from Vichitta Natak as well. So we're going to go back and forth in a journey through Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. Why do people do this? Why is Rehraas Sahib like a mini introduction to Dasam Bani? Because some things are important to be read every day. And the Sikhs are reminded in Rehraas Sahib about the awesomeness of the whole of Dasam Bani as well. Not just Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So the Sikhs will do this. So Maharaj Ji Kirpa, as we're going through this, we should hopefully clarify a lot of the misconceptions that people have out there about Dasam Bani. Yeah? And this is the important parts that Maharaj picked out for Rehraas Sahib. So, in ये बेनती प्रवान करनी है कथा करते हुए अनेक प्रकार की गलती होने से किसी बख्शना है कि बख्श दो प्लीज फॉरगिव मी पुण्य चुके देखिए जी आओ गज गज की फतेह आखो जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Vaheguru